What is up? It is March 18th, Monday, the day after Selection Sunday. This is Dukes. Everyone's doing bracket busters right now. I know people are probably tuned in, don't want to see me, don't want to hear me, but I'm going to do this until they get in. They should be in like 5 to 10 minutes. I thought like something fun that we could do together maybe is go over my bracket. I haven't filled one out yet. I was like, fuck it, let's just go through this one by one while we wait for them to get in. I think Rico's coming right now, actually, so he'll be able to take over the show. But so that was short-lived. Here he comes. You're live. Bosco.
What's up?
You're live.
Live?
Yeah.
All right. You had a... All right.
I was going... So we were having them wait for like 4 or 5 minutes. I was going to fill out my bracket live because I haven't done it yet.
That's fine.
Want to just do the ad really quick?
I do. All right. Pick Central Monday, March 18th. We have a bracket in front of us. And everywhere you can go to bet on... you want to be on DraftKings. The thrill and excitement of March Mania is here, and the DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbooks app, is giving new customers a shot to turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any college basketball bet. We got a video thing going out right now. I think everyone kind of knows what it is, but I want to make sure I don't step in shit. So you're looking for upsets. You can have the money lines. You can have player props depending on states. There's a lot of different things, a million different things on DraftKings that you can go into. You can get involved live into games. North Carolina listeners, don't forget DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in your state. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PICKCENTRAL. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets. Did you lose me? I don't hear myself. Oh, okay. Instantly in bonus bets only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code PICKCENTRAL. The crown is yours. This is also an ad?
Wait for
later
that.
On, right?
Later
yeah,
on.
absolutely. Okay, perfect. All right, so, there's something going on right now, which I'm sure you can kind of
I think
figure out.
I might have spoiled that.
I think it's public. Everyone kind of knows what we do.
Yeah.
I just want to leave it alone. I'm not going to tell you who I picked, but obviously I got a pretty high pick if everyone else is still out there. So I'm interested to see which way.
Yeah, I don't even know, so we'll talk about it after the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you fill out a bracket yet?
I didn't fill it out yet. No. I had a late flight last night. I was looking at some research, kind of who I want to bet on, different things like that. So let's go. Why is that corner website? Did you flip it? Flip that back to me. You see that camera? Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's do initial overall reactions. Is UConn's bracket that hard? Let's start up
They got fucked.
in the East. You think so?
They got fucked. Dude, UNC's on Dayton side.
All right, so what's the first reason UConn got fucked? Because Auburn is the toughest 4?
That 8-9's not easy.
It's definitely not easy.
That's not easy. You got what? Is that Michigan State FAU?
No, it's Michigan State. I'm sorry, it's FAU Northwestern.
Yes. So I think that Northwestern, like FAU, you get a team in FAU that obviously made the Final Four. When they play down to competition, they play really bad down to competition. When they play up to competition, we saw them beat Arizona in the non-conference. Then you get a team like Northwestern where they got a guy like Boo Buie who can take over in March, and it's a team that beat Purdue earlier in the year. So it's like, I don't know. I think they kind of got fucked in that 8-9. When you got like a team like North Carolina has the easiest schedule. Like they should would UConn have been rewarded for losing to St. John's? Would they have gotten an easier bracket?
I don't know. Yeah, I think Auburn is a very difficult 4. I think San Diego State has proven they can kind of mess things up. The interesting thing is Auburn's got to go all the way out to Spokane for that 4-5. That favors San Diego State.
Yeah, and I think San Diego State, 3 of the 4 Final Four teams from last year are all on one side.
But see, the bottom half of that bracket I don't love. I'm coming around on Iowa State, and I think Iowa State can muck it up against UConn. There's also 3 top 10 teams in that bracket, which is a rarity. You don't see that. Mm-hmm. You don't see that. So that's kind of where it's at. I don't love Illinois. I'm very high on Moorhead.
I am too.
Moorhead, I've also read this stat too, that their problem is they turn the ball over. Illinois does not force turnovers. This game is going to be short. Illinois is going to try and slow this game. I'm sorry, Moorhead's going to try and slow this game down. They got the kid Minix who can obviously play. He'll probably mess around with their big, Illinois' big. It's not Terrence Shannon. It's why am I blanking on his name?
Who? Coleman Hawkins?
Coleman Hawkins. So he'll match up with Coleman Hawkins. Shannon will probably shoot it from deep. I don't know. I think Moorhead is kind of live here in this spot. I also love Drake.
Love Drake.
Where's the game being played? Omaha.
Wow.
Drake's game's in Omaha.
Yeah,
so now you're looking at Drake, Iowa State in like a de facto, both home game for both of them. So, but, I don't trust Illinois. I think really UConn, it seems to me it's very everyone's saying that bracket is like loaded unless it's Auburn in the Sweet 16. And that's when you get 1 seeds. I feel like 1 seeds lose more in the Sweet 16 than they do the Elite 8.
I think UConn. I actually think if UConn gets past the 8-9, they're fine.
Yeah, Auburn still can play, man. They're top 10 efficiencies, athletes. Janai Broom is really good. I just don't know if they have the full depth.
Yeah,
to really
UConn's pretty good too.
Oh yeah,
yeah, you know what I mean.
Loaded.
That's what it comes down to for me. I think just UConn either falls asleep in the first round and they get upset, or they're just gonna be like, after the Sweet 16.
We're gonna. I think these guys are gonna touch on. We're gonna save a lot of the St. John's talk for a healthy debate because not even trolling, they got fucked.
A lot of teams did. Bubble was big this year. I mean, we saw a 10.
Well, the bubble was thin. Bubble was thin.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's the largest bubble there ever was.
How could you say that when there was 1 million bid steals?
Because St. John's and Providence, who were on the bubble before the bid steals happened, weren't even the first 4 out.
Yeah, I get, but
everyone called it the largest bubble of all time.
I wouldn't say large. There was a lot of bid steals.
I think that's why it turned into such a big bubble.
Yeah.
Also, I think that
that.
A team that won the A-10, I think Duquesne is live against BYU. They should not have been seeded in 11, but that's a team coming in 1 loss since Valentine's Day. They have 2 guards that are very fucking good, in Jimmy Clark and Day Grant. And also, their coach, Keith Dambrot, coached LeBron in high school.
Yeah.
I think that he's retiring right now at 12.
Oh, really?
After the tournament because his wife has cancer.
Oh, shit.
And he wants to take care of her.
Story.
Yeah,
story.
Story. Against a BYU team that gives up a lot of runs.
Yep.
Also could come back in any game. I think Duquesne there is live. I like Duquesne a lot. I think they're playing some good ball. They're supposed to be like one of the top 2 teams in the A-10 entering the year. Didn't turn out to be that way. Yeah. I like Duquesne.
So let's go west. Just initial thoughts. A lot of good mid-majors jump out here. Grand Canyon, Charleston, New Mexico I think is really good. Colgate I've been waiting on to win a game. Nevada has top 40 efficiencies. And then your guys obviously with Dayton. A lot of good mid-majors in this region.
Yeah.
Lot. Everyone's making a case, Charleston could beat Alabama. Alabama still doesn't have a bad loss.
I agree with you on that.
Still doesn't have a bad loss. The game is out in Washington, which I think can be difficult in terms of getting your feet under you, the Colorado area, that whole, the mountains. It is a little difficult with the altitude. The thing I'm kind of worried about too, Grand Canyon and St. Mary's in that 4-5 game, that favors either one of them, whoever wins. Out in Washington, Bama going out there.
I think both those teams are live against Bama. I think contrast in styles against St. Mary's. St. Mary's slow pace against Alabama's fast pace definitely hurts. I think Bama more so. Thoughts on that?
What?
The contrast in pace between St. Mary's and Bama, I think hurts actually Bama.
Definitely. If St. Mary's can.
That's what I think. So I don't think
the only thing is Mahaney's good. I could see Mahaney struggling with Sears and Estrada. Especially Estrada with that size. Try to get him on that with a mismatch.
Yeah.
Estrada's a big guard.
I love St. Mary's. I really do. I have
him to win the title, so early.
Still?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying you picked them in your bracket?
No, I had them in the beginning.
And what do you think about the bottom of this bracket? I think this is the most. I think in the West you'll see it's like a 5 or higher.
Yeah,
make the Final Four.
Clemson's overrated. Baylor shoots a lot of threes. I think that Colgate game could be kind of pesky. Colgate doesn't have as many shooters as they have, but they still like to shoot it. I don't really know what to make of your matchup. I'll give you Dayton, Nevada. I think the Mountain West is really good, and I think Nevada's good. But there you go. It's the same thing, 7-10, 2 mid-majors. Now
it's a 50-50.
Yeah?
And Vegas thinks so, too. Do I like this matchup for Dayton? When I look at the analytics, I actually do. Then I'm not going to ever look ahead to Zona. But again, contrast in styles. I think that this is just going to be one of those mucked up brackets. Like, this side has a lot of, like, fuckery, I think, that could happen here.
Yeah,
None of these teams, I would not say that any of these teams I'd be, like, so confident putting to the Final Four.
Yeah, Arizona seems like a team we've almost forgot about to a degree.
Well, because it's East Coast bias. I mean, we could just...
You've definitely watched them. Caleb Love, like, they definitely can play. It's just a matter of... Almost seems like Arizona's a little under the radar, flying a little under the radar.
For sure. And I do think that, like, I even have heard people say it. I mean, Arizona wants to play their style of ball. If you can take the air out of that ball for them, you play it slow that game down, cut their possessions, cut the length of the court. They're definitely upset worthy. They aren't unbeatable. They're not like a Houston or UConn. I know Houston just got killed.
Right.
But
that was kind of
Juwan Roberts
very unexpected.
Juwan Roberts needs to get he's the heart and soul of that team. He needs to get healthy.
Yeah.
I think he played like 13 minutes.
Yeah. The South, just initial reaction. So Houston, I said this. People like Smitty was like, I don't know what happened with Houston. I'm like, listen, everyone takes a beating in a game in a season. It just happened to happen in the conference championship game. So does this change your opinion on Houston?
No, wait. Let me just do this for the people.
Sure.
No, because Juwan Roberts only played 13 minutes. I didn't get to watch this game like play by play as much. It would be by the time that I was like watching it pretty intently, it was a blowout. But it doesn't change my opinion. Juwan Roberts got injured in the semifinals. He is the heart, soul of that team. He's the rebounder. He's the workhorse. He's the engine. He got hurt. Played 13 minutes in the finals. I'm pretty sure they just wanted him to be healthy for the finals. But he is like, if he's out of the tournament, they're fucked. That's my only take on him.
Yeah. This is the pardon my take quadrant.
Yeah.
With Wisconsin, Duke, Vermont, James Madison. I don't know. There's conspiracy theories all over the place. Do you think there's a stoolie on the selection committee? Dukes? You put any value into that?
There's a fucked up part of me that actually thinks that.
But those people on the selection committee are all old. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's the thing I think is a hang.
Yeah, but like they're old in the sense that like they're like, oh yeah, I'm the cool grandpa.
Yeah.
Listen, dude, the pizza guy, I fucking love that guy.
I like that guy. What was your initial reaction? You still look at this as like the pageantry of it and the chaos of this week? I haven't seen you in a couple of days, so where do you stand on the pageantry of the bracket?
I'm at best
filling out the bracket.
I'm at best a casual, and that's probably. I'm using the word casual probably too strongly, even for me. But having said that, though, like this tournament is so incredible. Like the idea that every game, it's like one game, winner take all, and you have crazy upsets. The way it's designed, it's so brilliant. It is perfect. It is like I'm not a big soccer guy, but I love the idea of like relegation. I think that's such an interesting concept. Not the biggest college basketball guy in the world. I love this bracket. I love this tournament. I love this time. It's just awesome, and it's exciting. It's fun. Even if you're someone like me who doesn't really know what's going on, you still have drama every night, every hour. It feels like in those first two rounds. I love this shit.
Yeah, it really is the best. I think this is when it's good to have a sport kind of own a time period, and when you look at the NFL, it's hard to say because I think the NFL does own. There's way less casuals in the NFL, but the NFL, if you were to say what does it own? It owns a lot of days, but it really only owns one with the Super Bowl. You get what I'm saying? It owns a lot. But if you were only going to watch the one game, it's the Super Bowl. With March, they own 3 weeks.
Yeah, and it's like
everybody, you know what I mean?
And it's a dead 3 weeks. Like think about the 3 weeks that have preceded this. We've been dying thinking about what to talk about. Now you have 3 weeks where this owns the entire sports landscape, and then you go right into baseball, and you got the Masters. Like spring is here. I also love what this represents. Like when this bracket comes out, it means no more snow, nice weather, let's go. I love this shit. And talking with you guys, the last few months has made me more excited for this than I was, in years previous.
Yeah.
We're all rooting against Duke, right?
Yeah, of course. Against Marty?
The Jake Marsh versus Marty Bowl. This would have bench mob in business.
I actually think they got a good draw here, though.
You like that one, Smitty?
Yeah. I actually think they got
resurrect bench mob for March.
I actually think they got a good draw.
Oh, I do too.
Because I think they'll be
I do
playing.
too.
They could be playing James Madison. They could be playing Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin matches up with them. They might have more firepower.
And they get a bang.
Vermont doesn't scare me. Everyone's saying Vermont. I think they get by Vermont fairly easy.
I do too. But also, when you look ahead, you got to. Then you got Houston, who I said is banged up a little bit.
Duke and Brooklyn is a de facto home game too. By the way.
And Houston's banged up. Like you're not getting like a full strength Houston team. Like they could beat Houston.
Yeah.
Marty said yesterday that at least the path to the Sweet 16 was the easiest path he's ever seen.
It's not.
He's obviously always hyperbolic when it
not
comes
a
to
bad. Listen. I call Duke like it is. I think the thing he doesn't like about me. I was a Duke fan growing up, and I just started to call it like it is. You know, like you get like that as you get older, you get wiser. If the team wasn't dynamic, I would kind of tell you how it was when they were all in to make a championship run. And Marty kept being like, "How could you say they're not going to make a championship run when they're number 7 in the country, or last year they were a 4 seed?" I'm like, I'm just telling you, there's something there. I've seen championship teams. This ain't a championship team, and it's not doing the Fleming thing like they'll never win.
Right.
Like I've won 3 Duke championships in my life. I can tell you the Kyrie Irving year, I was excited. They were loaded that year. Various different years. Like I thought they did have the firepower. There's been a bunch of years where something's up. Didn't seem like it. Last year seemed like they got a bad draw. Tennessee was going to out-physical them. They did. They beat the shit out of them. Tennessee literally beat the shit out of them. I like this draw.
So where does this run end for them,
in Brooklyn with 3 teams that they could beat, that gets you to the Sweet 16. Like Duke said, a banged-up Houston probably waiting for you. This is a good draw.
This is a good draw.
It's a very good
So how
draw.
far do you see, if I put a gun to your head, how far do you see Duke going? Where does the dance end for you?
100% into the Sweet 16, and then from there you kind of play with house money.
Okay.
I will say the one thing that they need they need James Madison to win, I think, badly. Because James Madison's a bad draw for Wisconsin, but I think in some fucked up world, Wisconsin's a bad draw for Duke. Because it is all matchup based. Like Wisconsin, like I said, like the contrast in styles, if Wisconsin makes Duke play their style of ball, that's a bad game for Duke to want to play.
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of like one of those. It's Big Ten basketball. They're gonna like want to beat the shit out of Duke. They're gonna want to slow the game down. They're gonna want to play hard defense. And from what I've seen, Duke is a very talented basketball game with a bunch of pussies on their team. They're soft.
That's the same as last year. That's what I said.
Yeah, but I know. But like, it's not like Wisconsin's like with Tennessee tough, but they're a bunch of pussies.
Yeah. Any dark horses in that region? Anybody jump out to you guys watching championship week where you're like, oh, I feel like I love that team? I feel like Florida's going to get a lot of sexy appeal here.
It was the opposite for me. I was all riding Rico's Houston.
Yeah. They're banged up, though.
Yeah,
but that wasn't good.
No, Smitty, they're like guy that gets every single rebound, which is the focal point to their offense. Played 10 minutes in the championship game.
I also think it's it's literally a one throwaway game.
Right.
Also, Houston, if they won, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have won 18 in a row at that point.
So you think it was good that they got their dicks kicked in?
Yeah,
Not
dude.
good.
Their coach is a psycho.
Okay. All right, they might be back in order.
If he was in the 80s, you'd be like, oh, he's the one that hit. I had to stop myself.
He's throwing chairs on the court.
He's passionate.
Yeah.
So coming into that game, yes, Houston had won every game since January 6th, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, oh, that's going backwards. I'm an idiot. I apologize. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It was every game since February 6th. And out of that, also, they lost February 3rd, and then before that, they rattled off 5 in a row. So you're talking about 11-1. So, like, the chances of them
running the table. It's been,
running the table, like winning, they would have needed to win that one, which would have made it 12 and then 6 more. That's an 18-game win streak to win the national championship.
not saying losing's bad,
Probability
but losing
of
that way.
Shout out Blutman. Blutman was like, I'm telling you, the probability of that, it's better they take a loss now. And everybody's subject to the blowout. Everybody takes a blowout loss. Houston took their blowout loss in a meaningless Big 12 championship game. They're still the number 1 seed. I don't hate it. I think they now get a little taste of that. They're banged up. I still don't think anything less of Houston.
I don't need, and I think
At all.
I think they once they won that semifinals, they're like, we got the 1 seed locked up. Let's not get you on.
And they're
anymore hurt.
also a type of team that could not skate by a 16 seed, but
They are going
kind
to
of skate guy.
They
by a
are
16
going
seed.
whatever you could put the other team to who the fuck they playing?
Longwood, who I actually think
You could put their team total at 18.5 in the first half. I might take the under. They are going to squish them. It's going to be a pride thing. They're going to squish them on defense.
I loved the
Every
over, too.
shot is going to be difficult. I would take the over 2.5 shot clock violations. Just a guy in the corner just dying with the ball like a little brother on a kid, just being like blocking it. Like, they're going to squish them on defense.
Now, you say Houston's banged up. Are these injuries that will go, like, let's say they make it to the second, third week of the tournament, are those injuries going to subside?
Yeah, I mean, if you get in foul trouble, for sure. No, they've lost. Oh, the injury. Well, can guys come back? No,
Right.
they lost the guy for a year.
They lost a starter early, which is fine. They lost a backcourt or front court member a couple weeks ago. You know, they'll probably reload on him. It's like their starting center was hurt. Like, got hurt in the semifinals, came back in. But I seriously think that once they won the semifinals again, they're like, we have the 1 seed locked up.
Right.
In the championship, let's play him for a little bit, but, like, let's not risk anything here.
But will he be 100% in, say, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think he's a tough motherfucker.
Okay.
I think that, like, you know, hey, maybe he's not 100%, but him at 85% goddamn seems like he's 100%.
Yeah. Let's just do initial reaction to the Midwest and kind of open it back up. So Midwest, Purdue's region. Everybody's talking about McNeese State. I think Gonzaga's playing really well. Fanta was coming at me. He's like, how could you say Gonzaga's turning it on? They just lost to St. Mary's in the final. They also blew St. Mary's out a week before that.
I think this is the region where if there is a region that has like a 5 or lower seed go to like a deep run, like a Final Four, this is the region. It's the most wide open. Purdue is super vulnerable. Even like Gonzaga, Kansas, like they're so beatable. Kansas is not the Kansas team you think of the last few years.
Samford's going to fire the ball. All they want to do is take threes.
Like
the guy Bucky ball. You're going to hear that a million times.
Samford winning that game wouldn't like shock me. They're only like 7.5 point dogs. It's like, or I could see Oregon, South Carolina is like a pick 'em. Like this is a region where I could see like an Oregon, like a winner of that game making like a run. Like even like Texas, Virginia winner making like a weird run. I just think it's wide open. I just think the top's not super strong.
Now, anybody who tells you that the committee doesn't know what they're doing or puts in little Easter eggs, I think South Carolina loses. That would mean Oregon wins. Probably think Creighton's going to win, although I think Akron is pesky. But they don't win. Creighton. So now you have Oregon, Creighton. Does anyone know the significance of that? Dana Altman used to be at Creighton. They throw these Easter eggs in all the time. It's almost always with coaching.
Tennessee, Texas, they do the same thing.
Yeah.
With Barnes.
With Barnes. They throw this stuff in all the time. So
Every school has it, because like to make this about like Dayton, because we have to. Like I know, like Arizona tried to like this is if we win the game. Arizona tried to steal our best player in the offseason, and he's from Arizona. So then like all the Dayton people are like, oh, they're trying to put in that Easter egg.
Right.
So like you don't even know some schools, but every school feels like they have one in the tournament.
Yeah. I kind of like Tennessee's draw. Texas has been really up and down. They're a good Big 12 team. It's going to be a hard out. But, you know, this is what I go back to with these second-round games. You're telling me if the seeds hold or even if there's upsets, you're looking at Gonzaga-Samford or Samford-McNeese or Gonzaga-Kansas, TCU-Purdue, Utah State-Purdue, Tennessee-Texas, like Oregon-Creighton. These are like wars in the second. I think the second round is the most slept-on round out there right now.
Well, that's what I think this region, the second round is going to be like out of control.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have a bunch, like, especially if you get chalked the first round. But I think even regardless, because I agree, like I think like TCU, I love TCU. I love their, and this is not me trolling you, like I love them against Utah State.
Yep.
I think when you get, especially some of these like middle of the road Big 12 teams who are just so battle tested, they've run through a gauntlet of a conference schedule, and then now they have to go play a team like a Mountain West team. Like I just think it's just night and day, like the level of competition those two teams have played throughout the season.
I mean, the Mountain West has done bad in the tournament as well.
And this is the whole debate obviously yesterday was like the Big East versus them. Big East got 3 teams. Mount West got 6. People are up in arms about that. I was one of them, just kind of, even though people could point questions to like, why did FAU get in Michigan State, Virginia? I understand all that, but I just think we give so much respect to the Mountain West, and then they go in the tournament and they don't perform. It's like last year, San Diego State made the championship game. So, but that's like they're like the only team that's had like a lot of tournament success. They're an outlier to that conference.
Only.
Like all the other teams, they put in multiple teams. They lose in the first round. They get all this hype. They lose. They play like an average Big 10 team or an average whoever, like a average Big 12 team, and they get mollywopped. I think that's what's going to happen in that game. But I could see TCU even like knocking off Purdue. Like I just think this region's going to go haywire.
I agree. That's my mucked up bracket, and so is the which one is that? The West. I think there's gonna be some muck ups.
Muck it up.
Smitty, anything jump out to you championship week or?
Why do you think? Well, I know why, but are you really? And I heard Ev say it today too. Are you guys really that confident that UConn is going to steamroll this?
Not steamroll.
Again?
Auburn is going to give them a challenge, and I think Iowa State can muck things up. But if you watch UConn, man, it's just men on a mission.
They're just
Fuck around for a little while. They started the game like even their worst. You can't really get them at their worst because they don't play bad on both sides of the ball.
like
that offensive performance Saturday night was horrible.
Like the times they've
Horrible.
lost, it's been like in conference on the road, and the other team just shot like 70% from three. Like
Creighton.
They're just
Seton Hall.
They're just so hard to beat. They're so good. They're so complete. Great guards, like great big man. They have everything. They got disrespected though because I thought they gave them the toughest bracket. To me, they got like the toughest two. I mean, in like the net or Kent, whatever it's Kent Palm, like there's like I think 3 of the top 5 they put in that bracket. Like they put Auburn in there.
3 of the top 10.
Just won.
Sure, yeah.
They literally put the big Iowa State who just won the Big 12. They put in Auburn who just won the SEC. Like who's the 5 seed in theirs again? They're
San Diego State.
That they got like the best,
Runner-up.
like the best Mountain West team, in my opinion, the most consistent, probably.
That's another little Easter egg too. If San Diego State gets out there, you have a rematch of the championship game in the Sweet 16.
I just think they got the toughest bracket, like which is weird because usually the 1 seed gets like the worst 2 and kind of that thing where I think they got the strongest 2.
Yeah, but the other thing is this though: the only time they're getting on a plane is to go to Phoenix.
Sure, but that I thought your whole thing is like that's what it's supposed to be.
Not everybody gets.
But you're like Mr. Complain about like, oh, like why is like this team have to go out west? Like you always say shit like that. Like why is like the East Coast team like they should be like where they're at?
No. The Final Four is in Phoenix.
I get that.
They're going Brooklyn and Boston.
But
they
I'm
have
saying
backyard games all the way
But
through.
I'm saying you say that's what your take has always been that's what it's like supposed to be kind
It's
of.
supposed to be, but it doesn't always mean that it's in your back.
I mean, last year they had to go to Vegas the whole like for the.
Agreed. They were a 5 seed. When you're a 1, it doesn't like the bracket doesn't always
No,
line.
UConn.
UConn. Yes.
They were a 5 last year.
They were a 5 last year.
Were they?
Yeah.
And they fucking
That's right. That's right. They were.
pimped.
They were a 5. My point is this, Ev. When you're a 1, it doesn't always line up. Like you could be, like Duke has been in Charlotte in the first round, but then maybe the Sweet 16 is in like Atlanta. Like, is that close? Yeah. Is Duke gonna have a crowd? Yeah. But like we're talking about Brooklyn, which is Storrs South in the Garden. It's the same area. They're gonna do the same thing, and then Boston with UConn. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
What about the
They own that. Like, those are 2 home games.
course.
Legit home games.
What about the pressure factor? Repeat.
He's been. I mean, you play for a psychopath. Like, he's putting pressure on them every day.
But it's pretty. It's
It is.
pretty big thing.
I'll
What
say
was the
this.
what was the last team to repeat? Florida.
Florida. I'll say this. There also hasn't been a lot of teams who've had that pressure of that chance. So the further and further UConn gets, yes, it will build. People are going to be like, oh, shut up. You guys ever play on a team that you just knew you couldn't lose? I was on it once.
Yeah.
My senior year of high school, when we won the city and then the Catholic State, you could have put the Knicks in front of us. It felt like we ain't losing.
How many charges?
watch?
How many charges a game were you taking?
I was usually just
Yeah.
a little bit of this. But a couple of blowouts along the way in the playoffs. But UConn feels like that.
No, I
point,
agree.
like they couldn't buy a basket against Marquette. It's like, we'll be okay. And if you watch, like Klingon's got, they're just, I don't know, like it's a little bit of like cocky, and it's also a little bit of like that thing of the boxer where you go back to the ring, you go back to your corner, you think you got him, and he's kind of just standing there like unfazed. You're like, what the fuck?
There's a
You know what I
fine. There's a
mean? Like-
fine line between cockiness and confidence, and you're saying that they're.
And it's on the
They're
perfect,
confident.
it's the
They're on- no,
perfect
they're on,
line.
like, the good
they're on the
side, yeah,
perfect.
for
They're on the perfect line. Of
They have every reason to be that confident because they are that good.
And they
Am I
have-
crazy to say that? Like
No.
you look at their body language,
And they're the
ain't
team
losing.
that like if that game is tied at half, you'll blink and they'll be up 15 in like 5
They
minutes in
have-
the second half.
Like
They
they
have
were
the
that-
coach.
In second half, they will just like run you out of
Run
the
you out of the gym.
like they were against Xavier.
Yeah,
But they're
so-
also not doing the thing where they just throw their sneakers out on the court and think they could beat everybody.
Yes,
they're
they play-
showing up and
play
being like,
hard.
this team is the Bulls. Like, we can't lose the 96 Bulls. They show up, and they no matter what happens, they figure it out.
Yeah, Smitty, was it you when we were watching Xavier?
Yeah.
I took Xavier, and I think you
They were winning at halftime.
Somebody came in and was
Or
like,
down by one.
"Oh, good call on Xavier." And I was like, it's like almost it was a feeling like when you bet against the Chiefs, you're like no, like
Yeah.
don't celebrate early. Like UConn can turn this up and win by 30.
They were
before
up by
you play.
10. They were up by 10 in the first half.
Yeah, I think UConn's fucking, and they have the coach to carry that confidence and cockiness. And I actually think that this, what you're saying, Rico, about like when it carries on in the tournament and the pressure, I think the players are actually guarded by Hurley because his cockiness and what he does, he'll get the shit. The players won't.
Yeah.
But it's like just in the level of intensity they play with too.
Oh
Like,
my God,
they
they're
just
so
are
fun.
so like they play so having all this talent, but they play so hard and they play defense. Like they don't take a second off.
Also, really quick about UConn, they can win so many different ways. I think
Yes,
you want to win
sure.
ugly, they can win ugly. You want to play NBA style basketball, 5-on-5, use the whole shot clock, they can do that. I think that they are just.
They
figured it out.
They're like matchup proof. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
They-
It really is crazy.
Get an NBA player in like Castle, get a sharpshooter in Cam Spencer.
Yep.
Tristan Newton's the best point guard in the nation, in my opinion.
I thought it was Braden Smith.
I mean, those top three for me is Braden Smith, Tristan Newton, Jamal Shed.
Solid group.
Yeah, that'll change day by day for me.
Yeah. But, we wait all this time for it. It's just miraculous. There's something about all these possibilities of this out in front of you.
I have a question for you guys. Who got screwed the most? Who got the worst seed of this? That you expected maybe to be higher?
Auburn.
Okay.
In my opinion. Auburn wins the SEC. Kentucky's a 3. What did Auburn do against Kentucky this year head-to-head? Kentucky had to have beaten them, right?
Maybe a split. Oh, I'll look. But
Auburn's a 4 seed, so you think they should have been higher?
Yeah, they should have been, but they played on Sunday. They also
I'll find it. Where'd it go?
And on the flip side, I guess like
Kentucky beat Auburn. They played them once.
If I just say it,
They beat them. But Auburn wins the SEC. There's not a lot of it makes sense.
They've just shown they don't put a ton of that into the tournament though, like into the like I'm saying, like they've shown they don't care about that as much.
Right.
Like the tournament runs, I feel like it's only for like bubble teams.
Is it true that BYU got seated properly because they can't play on a Sunday?
Yeah, that's been a thing forever.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
But that's
Yeah.
also why I think that they got Duquesne, is the committee thought that they were giving Duquesne the 11 seed. And you know BYU is supposed to be a 5, the top 5.
Right.
So they bumped down to 6, and I think they gave him Duquesne because Duquesne really should have been like a 13.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a favorite. I don't like Illinois. Who's the top 5 seed off the top of your heads that jumps out that you think is going home day 1 or day 2?
I would say
I think it could be Illinois. I really do.
Clemson.
I like Illinois, but I mean Moorhead's really good. Yeah, Clemson is a
Clemson,
6.
I could definitely see going home early.
See South Carolina going home.
Yeah, they're a 6, but yeah, for sure. I could see. JMU. I think is going to give Wisconsin everything they can handle. That's only even a 4.5 point spread. Those are the ones that jump out. It's even like I said, like Kansas would not shock me at all if they lost. They don't play defense. They're not deep. Like they're coming in banged up. I mean, just a lot. There's a lot not going for them this year.
where are you on Alabama potentially facing St. Mary's that second round?
I'm just at
What do you think about Grand Canyon beating St.
Grand
Mary's?
Canyon is definitely one that I
Grand
think.
Canyon,
Grand
for
Canyon.
sure.
I think they absolutely
really
could.
good.
The line's only
So
5.
Grand Canyon has a kid who committed to and played at Kansas. Is their best player. Tyon Grant Foster. Is that him?
Yeah,
Grand Canyon?
they have a bunch of Power 5 guys too.
Yeah.
They're good. They're
Grand Canyon's a
legit.
factory.
They're legit.
The other thing is this: no matter if Bama beats Charleston, Charleston's gonna be pesky. The game's out in Spokane, so that favors St. Mary's. That favors Grand Canyon. They're way closer. Bama's going out there. The crowd starts to get into it against them. You know what I mean? Which you've seen a million times. People start rooting against Duke in these different regions and stuff like that. So, yeah, Bama's. The only thing I'll say is they don't have a bad loss. And Charleston's a very, very good team, but it's been a long time since they lost. And as it turns out, Clemson made the tournament, so that's not a bad loss for Alabama. They've lost to a bunch of top 10 teams, top 15 ranked teams, close. They did get smoked by Florida. Florida just seems to own Bama. They have their number. But I guess Bama's worst loss is Ohio State, and that was before Thanksgiving weekend. And as it turns out, Ohio State got real pesky and barely missed the tournament. So I don't think Bama has bad losses and outplays the competition. I like Charleston. They're a pesky team. But those guards I don't think stay with Sears and Estrada. I'm pretty confident Bama gets through round 1 in this one.
How about round 2?
That's going to be, like I said, that's basically a road game. I worry about that. I picked St. Mary's earlier in the year to win the championship. So St. Mary's I do think is legit. But Mahaney I think also can have problems with the guards. It also really comes down to can they make fucking threes? Because they're going to take 33s. So can they make them? No. Can they make them?
What about there's one 14 seed that I'm kind of eyeing, Oakland over Kentucky.
I think Kentucky rolls.
So
that's my opinion.
You want to get in a track meet with Kentucky?
No. But you're talking about story, like you said, if you just don't hit your shots, you keep Oakland close. I think that the Oakland coach, I think, has that storyline to him this year when you're talking about that. I also I do believe that Kentucky can lose on any given night. I love Kentucky when they're playing their brand of basketball and they're playing how they can play.
Right.
I don't know if anyone in the country can play with them, but they don't bring it every night. They're susceptible every single night.
Yeah.
I don't think if you're Oakland, you want to try to outshoot them.
I have a question for you guys. So, Ivy League championship, Yale won on a buzzer beater. Does winning on a miracle like that make you want to take a team more in the first round, like Yale versus Auburn, or do you not care about that at all?
I would say personally, I don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't really factor
it. Doesn't
in.
have any
I think it's why people fall in love with a team.
Yeah.
I think everyone saw Yale, and it'll be in the New York Post, and this, and everyone's
You're
like,
like,
oh,
I think
Yale.
I mean, I think Yale's decent. They might be able to give him a game, but I mean, I like the big guy.
Yeah.
They got a big guy. Wolf is like a 7-footer. They claim could maybe be an NBA guy,
Yeah.
but
I mean, I watched 3 seconds of Yale basketball all season, and all I saw was a buzzer beater.
I watched a few Yale games. I like they got the guy Bang is pretty good defender. They're not a horrible lower conference team,
Yeah.
but
We got very early money action, if we want to hear it.
Yeah.
For tomorrow night's playing game, Virginia plus 2.5. The money's all over them. We have Moorhead plus 11.5 against Illinois. Moorhead State open at plus 13.5.
I told you I like Moorhead.
Moorhead, yes,
bet
please.
I bet him already.
NC State plus 4.5. That open at 5.5. And Dukes, Dayton
I know.
plus 1.5.
That's a weird.
Money's sharp, and money are all
match-
over. 58% of the money and only 17% of the bets.
The matchup for Dayton, I think, I hate to say it because I'd love to just see it win. But I think that matchup actually favors Dayton. And I not much I could speak highly of for Dayton this year, but they play as a large lineup, not they don't have a good dominant big man. I think that we can kind of expose them. And
You think that Holmes can eat is what you're
I think
saying.
Holmes can eat, and if the outside shooters can make their shots, which they've been capable of most of the time, I think it favors Dayton. And everything that we play into their strengths and their weaknesses. I don't know. I like it. The more I looked into it, weirdly confident. But Nevada's a good team. It should be a 50.
Yeah, does it kind of suck that you're a higher seed? I mean, 7 and 10.
It's a 50. It's a 50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, but we're playing out Nevada got fucked. But people thought they should have been a higher seed. But Nevada's playing in Salt Lake City. It's we're a 7, but they basically have a home game.
Right.
So they didn't get that fucked.
I like the 7-10s a lot this year.
Yeah.
You have that game. You have Florida's going to play the winner of who's that? Is that
Boise,
Marquette.
Colorado.
Yeah, Boise and Colorado.
That's a really good game. Wazoo Drake's a great game. That game's like a pick'em spread. Wazoo Drake's going to be awesome. That's
Really, really good.
Dude, even I think if Drake wins that, I love Iowa State. I think Drake could play with Iowa State.
I think they can too. I think
100%.
Drake's
The
really
game's
good.
in Omaha.
Drake's very good.
I think Drake is very good.
Drake is in Nebraska. I was right there. You're going to get.
And Iowa State plays a very muck it up style.
Yes.
So just playing that style, if you can score a little bit, you can stay in there.
Well, it's the same thing I say all the time. For 32 minutes, you might hold the team to 47 points. They get hot for 8 minutes and score 10, and all of a sudden they win 57-55. You saw it last year with Virginia. Like Furman couldn't shoot shit during the day. Gets hot in the last minute, hits the 1-3 that they need. They win, what, 63-62 was that final?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
You know?
You know what? I'm just looking at this really quick, and it's just pissing me off. Wait, I'm gonna move this over really quick. It is insane to think that Michigan State could just beat Mississippi State. We could all see that. Then they get North Carolina. They beat North Carolina. They're in the Sweet 16.
Every year they do
and
it.
Every fucking year. No, but you win 2 games in one weekend, and then they'll be like, Izzo did it again.
Yeah.
This guy is unbelievable. And what he does every March, nobody else can fucking do. And then he'll come back next year, and he'll do the same fucking shit.
Meanwhile, he underachieved basically all year.
All
Started.
fucking year.
I don't know why they're not.
I don't know why they're that safe.
Why would they
Like the fact that they were that safe to me is honestly the most egregious one to me is FAU.
I agree.
The fact that they are, if they didn't make that run last year, they wouldn't have sniffed the tournament. How the fuck they were an 8 seed is crazy. They had what, 1 quad to win 2? I think they
beat Arizona.
That pretty much was.
Could they turn it back on and find
Yes.
the magic?
I mean, listen, they could beat Northwestern, but I mean,
They run into UConn though.
yeah, but
But they got a
they're not beating
7-5 guy in Golden. Who's
Golden,
good.
yeah,
Golden, who's good.
But they're not. I mean, and John L. Davis is very good. Like he's probably be an NBA guy.
Elijah
but,
Martin's good. Like I think
They have a good team. Yeah,
They got big guys on the
They made a run
sides,
last
too.
year and brought back like the whole team.
Yeah.
So that's a big reason why people like them. But just what they did in the regular season was not deserving of, in my opinion, over teams like Oklahoma, Seton Hall,
this is
St.
gross.
John's. Like some of these teams are like even Pitt. Like some of these teams I thought were way more deserving than them.
Yeah. Anything else outside of the brackets to wrap things up? Anything else jump out to you?
This is Florida Atlantic, by the way.
Yeah, 2-2
Oh, 7-2.
in quad 4.
8-1 quad. Dude.
Yeah.
Like 2 quad 4 losses is
tough.
crazy. That they got burned.
They had some bad losses in that AAC.
A comfortable 8 seed with that is insane.
So
Insane. In a weak conference they were the only at-large bid from their conference.
Speaking of that conference really quick, we were all rooting for Temple yesterday, right?
I had the over, so I kind of was
Yeah.
just whatever.
That
about
would have
it,
been a
but
great story.
UAB is, I think, it's a team that has a lot of momentum right now too.
Good coach.
San Diego State's a tough draw. Andy Kennedy's a great coach. I was hoping they would get a different 5 because San Diego State I do think is good, but I think that'll be a very good game, very fun game to watch. San Diego State UAB. UAB's got some Power 5 guys too. They're good. I like UAB a lot.
Question for the panel, really quick, is how would you guys grade the committee? Because I know they're getting a lot of heat right now.
I don't have too many problems.
No, they
with
did
it. I think I had more problems with the bubble.
Yeah, they did. I thought they did horrible on the bubble. Like some of these teams that were so safe, like we just talked about.
But it feels
Michigan State. Like I just don't.
But the bracket feels.
I just don't get it.
Feels pretty balanced. Like the 4-5s are all difficult. The 2, like nobody has a weak 2. Arizona, Iowa State, Tennessee, and Marquette are all like solid 2s. I think it actually probably helped Marquette that they got to the final. Because I could have the way that they were going, they were losing some games down the stretch. Yes, Kolek was out, but like who were the 3s?
Well, that's
Illinois. You don't see Illinois potentially sliding ahead.
Think about what they were able to do without their best player.
Yeah.
Like Marquette's legit.
The only one that I would have slid ahead of them was Illinois, and Illinois probably would have loved that better because obviously they're a 2, but they get the hell out of UConn's bracket.
Illinois is just so old.
Yeah.
And Terrence Shannon just ridiculous. He's unbelievable. I mean, you're good when you're like 22 years old and they still think you're still going to be a lottery pick.
Yeah.
In today's NBA, when you're like 22 and you're still
unheard of.
viewed that way, like he's just a freak athlete, absolute freak.
Anything jump out in terms of other sports storylines? We'll break this down, get Final Fours on a million different things. Shout out to Marty, by the way. He won the Conference Futures draft.
Yeah, did good.
So
shout out Bosco for dinner last night.
Yeah.
Got his burger fingered at an airport restaurant.
I was like, this one's got no
Got
mustard.
his burger literally finger banged by the waitress.
Literally.
Incredible.
I was like, this one's got no mustard? She goes, yeah. Pops the thing like
She literally lifts. She literally sticks her hands in it, just lifts it up to the point she like almost a piece of the burger almost like falls off of it.
it was
She
wild.
like grabbed it so
Didn't
aggressively.
even use the knife.
No, her fingers.
And then there was supposed to be toppings on it, like the lettuce and because those guys got nothing without. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even fucking asking.
Me and Marty,
I'm just
me
gonna
and Marty, she did it. Me and Marty looked at each other. We were like, oh my god.
I looked right away. I'm like, I'm just
Because
kidding.
well, it was just funny that it was just Bosco's burger. She does it and then just puts it down in front of Bosco.
You guys ever have this happen to you? So I'm sitting in a seat. The girl comes up. She's like, I got this seat and the seat next to it. I show the boarding pass. We both have the same seat. So I'm like, you got to go talk to the lady. She goes and talks to the lady and they say, you got to go talk to the lady. So I get up, I go. As I'm getting
Wait
up.
a second. You had the same seat and you made her go and talk to the lady first?
Well, he was
already up
there
and I was
first. He
sitting.
was sitting there.
I was sitting.
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
So I go up to talk to the lady. As I'm going to get up, my seat changes from this row to the row in front.
Huh.
You guys ever had that
No.
before? And the guy next to me could have vouched too. I was like, did you just see this? It switched. He's like, yeah, it's crazy.
That's why you print out your boarding pass still.
Yep, that's right. I do that. You got that right.
Nah.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I print out honestly, I couldn't fly without it. It's like it's a security blanket for me. I can't imagine not having my.
But then I ended up doing something. I switched to the seat behind where I originally was, and it had no middle.
Yeah, so you got to.
so-
Yeah, I thought.
But I originally, as I walked up, I'm like, what do I get out of the deal? I was like, my bag's now 2 rows behind. Like, what do I get out of the deal? I was hoping they would throw me into first class for the day, but that didn't happen.
No.
So, and the guy,
How hard were you fighting for that one?
I was definitely fighting.
I was watching.
First
Bosco.
class was already filled, but the guy basically was like, what do you want? You want 10A? You want to break them up? I was like, not really, but I want something out of this deal. He's like, well, you're going to get 10A then. Like, you're going to be the bad guy. I was like, all right, it's whatever. So, anything else jump out?
Baseball starts on Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. They're playing 2 games. Dodgers and Padres are playing games in South Korea. I will be here tomorrow. I'll have some picks for
When is opening day?
that. Thursday of the following week.
Oh, right. Yeah,
I
okay.
think it's 28th.
So, and Justin Fields is a Steeler.
Yeah.
For a 6th round pick, that could be a 4th, but
I thought they stole him. I mean, and they from what it sounds like they did right by him in terms of that they had other teams that offered higher picks that were like worse situations for him to get playing time potentially. So they basically went with the one that he basically got to choose, and he chose the Steelers because I think other spots were that had established starters.
I think it's a win for the Steelers.
For sure. I mean, what do
you got to lose?
It's a 6th rounder, and then basically if he plays more than half the snaps, it becoms a 4th rounder. Is the stipulation.
Yeah.
They're saying that Russell Wilson's the guy, but I mean, you could
it's
see
a 1 year deal. Anything can happen.
and they're both basically on like 1-year deals,
Right.
for very cheap money. So I think for a team like the Steelers that just doesn't have a quarterback future right now, why not take a stab at him and just see, like, the worst that happens is you don't like him and then he just goes and does something else.
Yeah.
And the Eagles get Kenny Pickett, officially almost completing every correlation from the 2011 Dream Team offseason. Actually unbelievable. They got an undrafted free agent defensive end, and Jason Babin and Bryce Huff. They got the backup quarterback. They got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, D-back Splash. Same thing as Dominic Rogers-Cromartie and Nyamdi. They got a new defensive coordinator. Like, it's getting weird a little bit.
Yeah, I got nothing tonight. I'll take a look at the NBA or hockey. And
I have the Knicks tonight plus
I've also
5.
been getting absolutely smoked.
Yeah. Flames, Capitals, over 6.
Okay.
Just some minor baseball news. Cole Tucker was granted his release by the Seattle Mariners.
All right, thanks, Phil.
out to Cole
It's
Tucker.
bad when I barely care. Knicks plus 5. They're playing the Warriors tonight. It's in Golden State, but the Knicks have been playing pretty well. So I'll take a stab at that.
Yeah, for me, tomorrow's where it starts. Nothing to. I just
Love that.
all in college basketball. I've already locked in a bunch of plays for it.
Just a Virginia muckfest.
Yeah, I like in the Wednesday game. I really like Colorado. I'm already like locked in moneyline Colorado. Already like in. Some of the plays I put in early already for the tournament, like TCU, I already put in. Morehead State, I put in. Kentucky, I put in. Baylor, I put in. Who else did I put in too?
And getting in early is not
Grand Canyon, I put in.
the worst move. Lines are going to move.
I got some decent.
Lines are going to move.
I got some decent lines on them already because I knew that would happen. That's why I got in the lab when we were at the airport and put in a few, and I already got a point on a few of them. So I feel good, excited, big, huge week.
Huge week.
Any NIT bets? Johnny's?
No.
Buckeyes, baby, Buckeyes.
Johnny's aren't playing.
NIT.
I know,
Shout out
it's
Jake Diebler, the new the savior.
Did you guys happen to catch Tom Crean shitting on teams sitting out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Did you see the quote tweet? It's like he was shitting on teams like you gotta want to coach and play in the big in the NIT. It's disrespectful. And then there's like a headline where it was like, Indiana sits out NIT. They don't want to ruin what Assembly Hall means. So they would, and like when he coached at Indiana, they wouldn't host an NIT game because he didn't want to ruin the lore.
it's always the coaches that can't find work that are on TV that always have the strongest opinions.
That's
Like he's not he's not Jay Wright. He's not there by choice. He's not there because he retired after 2 championships. He's there because no one wants to hire him because he was a bad coach.
that's so facts. I like that.
This is the truth.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, so that's where we're at. A lot of action, a lot of breakdowns. We'll have some more in terms of styles of play and different things that I'll dive into, stats, stuff like that, throughout the week. So happy gambling. It's here. We fight all, we start like,
This is it,
like,
baby.
oh, geez, you guys are excited
This is
about
it.
this in November, and here's where we're at. So we'll catch you tomorrow. Yak is up in an hour.